Welcome to this new topic, which is about arrays. This is the first lesson. This lesson is Introduction to Arrays. So the first question that might come to your mind is, what's array in programming? Actually, it's a variable that can hold multiple values of the same data type. We already used variables in many of our programs, and we already familiar that the variable can hold only a single value at a specific time. However, array is something different because it can hold more than one value at the same time. So this is the difference between the single variable and the array. In the single variable, it holds only one value, while the array can hold multiple values. But remember here that all the values in the array must be of the same type. So either, for example, all the elements in the array are integers or double or characters or something like that. All the elements should be of the same type. How to define an array? In order to understand how to define an array, let's just compare that to defining a single variable. When we have a single variable and we want to define that variable, we start writing the type of the type. For example, here we have integer x, so this is the data type. Then we put the name of the variable. Now x in this case will represent a single element. Now the question now is how we define an array that, for example, here it's composed of 5 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. To define this also, again, we need to specify the type, like the single variable, and then the name of the array. Here we call it x, and again the same rules of naming variables also apply to naming arrays because they are considered still like a variable. Then the difference here is that we have to specify the size or how many elements in that array. This is like a number here, 5. This will be defined between two square brackets, open bracket, close brackets. So this means we declare here an array that's composed of 5 elements. Remember here, all the elements are of type integer. This is how we define an array. It's very important to note that in C++, the array size must be constant. For example, here we specify the size of array x as 5. We cannot make it a variable. We have to specify it as an integer literal like this one, or to define a constant. Then, for example, constant s equal integer s equal 5. Then here we write integer x and s instead of 5. In all cases, this must be constant and it cannot be a variable. In order to access a specific element in an array, you need to use index. Each element has a specific index. The first element in the array index is 0. Here we use the index between the brackets. So x square brackets 0, that means we are talking about the first element in the array. x1, that means we are talking about the second element, and so on. So here you should note that if we have array that size is 5, the last element index is 4 because the first element index is 0. So this is how we access a specific element in the array. When we talk about x of 0, that means we are talking about the first element, and x4, that means we are talking about the last element in the array. Remember that array in C++ starts, the index of the elements starts with 0, not 1. You should not get confused between the number here when we say x0 and this number when we say x5. When we declare the array, when we have a data type before the name of the array, like here we have integer, this number means the size of the array. It means number of elements in that array. But when we use only the name of the array with a number between the square brackets, that means we are referencing a specific element in the array. Here we are talking, for example, about the first element, which is x of 0. So you should not get confused between the number here and here. In the declaration, it means the size. When we use that in another place in the program, that means we are referencing a specific element in the array, because this means is the index, not the size. So based on that, you should know that array elements are independent from each other. Also, although all the elements have the same name, or we can reference them with the same name, X for example here, but they are independent from each other. You can manage each element independently from the other elements. So you should deal with the array elements individually. You cannot read the whole array as a single element, or write the whole array as single element. You have to deal with the elements of the array one by one.